We entrust elected officials to act for the public interest. We entrust nonprofit organizations with government grants to provide public services. It is important to expose corruption because it violates that trust when elected officials and nonprofits misuse public office and government funds for private gain.
These were a series of child welfare investigations along with a historical analysis of ACS's implementation of DOI's PPRs over the last decade. It's important because it really goes to the crux of what we do here. We can issue PPRs all we want, but if the agency isn't effectively implementing our PPRs, we're not accomplishing what we need to accomplish.
One of the best moments of the AFLAC investigation was at the point where we were literally dotting I's and crossing T's on one of our subjects where we already had enough evidence, and yet the lead investigator was so tenacious, she kept following a lead and found even broader scheme to defraud and ended up with the Attorney General's office pursuing a superseding indictment.
Gang violence and narcotics activity is a particularly important issue as it relates to public housing and NYCHA. Although the crime rate has gone down throughout New York City, it remains persistently high in public housing. An individual is 4 times more likely to be shot on public housing grounds than anywhere else in the city.
Throughout this particular project, the cost of the program has become extremely high. Every dollar that we save is really important. It needs to go to the people who are truly in need and not people who are trying to take advantage of the system.
Crime victims are an important source of information, and they are stakeholders in the process. But what happens when that victim of crime is undocumented? What happens when that victim is afraid of the immigration consequences of coming forward? That's why we did this investigation, to make sure NYPD had a process that was strong and fair when it came to undocumented victims of crime.
It's critical in large part because of the volume of people who interact with NYPD on a yearly basis. In 2016, for example, there was 157,000 people in mental crisis who had contacts with the police department. And so just given the sheer volume of these interactions, it's important to have policies in place so that people are treated humanely and that both officers and citizens in these encounters are as safe as possible.
When you see the vehicles traveling to the mall and to the beach and to vacations, I think really that's when any person as a taxpayer, as a citizen, looks and says, this is not right. And when you have a situation where, in this case, the bulk of the misconduct fell on the commissioner of the department, he as a leader set the example, set the tone really for the whole agency.